things just map together in my brain at this point.
And it's another episode of Weekly Mojo with your host, Madison Jessica. It's February, near the end of February somehow. Don't even know how that happened.
Don't even know what week we're on. Dude, life is just ticking by and we're happy to be along for the ride.
We might be on 30.
Like 30 or 31
Yeah,
is what I have. And I think my weeks have been off too. So I think we're on 31 maybe.
I'm going to go look at YouTube Studio.
30, flirty, and thriving. I hope it is 30.
Me too.
Hey, that's like your birthday. Damn, I missed an opportunity to say that for you. Fuck.
What?
You're going to have to turn 30 again so I can do that for you.
I don't think that's how that works.
You can be 30, flirty, and thriving.
I am 30.
Right, no. I'm just like, I can't believe I missed that opportunity. I was ready to do it for me. And then I was like, oh my God, you're 30.
Yeah, just shout it out there. I'm old now.
We're 30 years. You're 30 years young. I'm 29 years young. And
I'm married to a 20-year-old.
Careful.
In their 20s.
Careful.
Sorry.
The last 20.
That's all that matters.
Oh my God.
Just kidding. Okay, so we had one episode. I don't number these.
That's funny. So are we gonna have to count?
No. I number them on your website.
Okay.
And I think I do number them on the Playhaus website, but maybe I don't because
For the 4 people that care, and like me included.
Well, I care. 4. That's why we're spending time on this.
Yeah.
I mean, it's your show, so that you would overrule me if you didn't care.
I'm just very curious to know where we're at this point.
So yeah, we're at 30. Because
cool. Yep. 29.
Here we go. The last one I've uploaded, and so that last week was 29. This is 30.
Wild. Carol Daly was our 29. Damn too fine. And now we're talking about our body of the week.
It's kind of fitting. You're 29 at the time which we talked about Carol Daly, who was our 29th person. You both love true crime.
And you want to be associated with this little baddie behind me, Miss Jackie Mitchell?
Yeah, sure. Why not? I love
boys league.
I love sports.
It makes sense. I mean, without further ado, we might as well just introduce this baddie.
Most of the best players on the soccer field in elementary school were girls, so
that
doesn't surprise many people, I bet.
Getting back to, and if you haven't heard the episode with Amin Khalif, the baddie boxer out of the Olympics of 2024, who definitely did not deserve all of the backlash that she received. I think in the same vein of that, we're looking to have the elites, so to speak, or the sports aficionados that don't give 2 shits about gender, and just want to compete with the best competitors out there.
So you're saying real athletes.
Right. Real athletes. And then
the ones that care about the sport and the competition and wouldn't care, who they're competing against.
Exactly.
Because they like it for the sport of the game.
And without further ado, Jackie Mitchell, the 17-year-old baddie behind us, if you didn't know, circa 1931, she fucking struck out Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig. Who I had no idea how to fucking pronounce his last name. I will be very frank with you. Who knew that Lou Gehrig's disease was Lou Gehrig, a baseball player? I had no idea. That's interesting.
That's like the fun fact I learned when I learned about Lou Gehrig's disease. I don't even know what Lou Gehrig's disease is anymore. I just know it's his disease.
Have to get into a rabbit hole on that one.
So.
But this baddie not only struck them out just once, but they were like, wait, you did that? Let's see if you do it. Can you do it again? And she fucking not only did it again, but she struck them out 6 times.
Each or just she struck them back to back in 6 balls total?
I think it was probably 6 go-arounds between the 2 of them 3 times.
Because it makes more sense to me that she had Babe Ruth, struck him out in 3, then had Lou Gehrig and struck him out in 3, and those were the 6 pitches.
That could be. No hitters regardless. And so this little fucking 17-year-old gets signed up on, and I can't wait to get into the actual story because this is about as much backstory as I actually know. But some dumbass fucking commissioner after this baddie struck out Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig, the two like baseball Hall of Famers.
Big time sluggers,
Like
I think.
truly, like
Babe Ruth.
I don't know baseball, and those
Yeah, no,
names
I mean-
do like Babe Ruth resonates with me. Lou Gehrig didn't know he was a baseball player, so sports.
I mean, I like to play sports. Baseball's fun to play, but I haven't played it formally in a long time.
My family would
Some
never
beer league shit.
allow for summer sports because it interfered with camping. So they basically shit all over baseball,
Baseball's
which
a spring
is so
sport.
funny. Well, there's like 100 games and it goes into the summer.
You play for the major leagues.
I just, again,
I was like most baseball leagues, I don't know, little leagues, like what, a season of 20 games, maybe?
all
You
of
play
our
from May
baseball
to
and
June.
softball was during the summer. That and soccer.
Well, there
those
is
things.
summer league baseball. It's just
Right.
a second season. You can play
Okay.
baseball summer long if you
You
want.
can
But
play
like
it all year round if you wanted.
Yeah, but you know,
I don't know why my
the traditional
parents had
season is
such
just
a
May,
like
June,
aggression
maybe a little
against
bit
baseball.
of April.
Like super hard against baseball. Did not like it, or softball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
and it's funny because we have Tyler in our family now, and they're like, "Oh, we love Tyler." And I'm like,
it makes
"Oh, okay."
total sense in a completely homophobic way.
Oh yeah,
Because of the reputation around softball and
sure.
women's
But do you
sports.
think they intuited I was like bi back then? Truly, like
No, they just chose more feminine sports for you guys. Is what I would describe it as.
I did really enjoy wearing my dad's like swim trunks over my own swimsuit, and like definitely tucked my hair up in a baseball cap like all the time. So I don't know what that was other than like
Reggie from Rocket Power.
Kind of. It's
That's
really
it.
that. Like
It's
my
not,
mom only
I'm
ever
practical
wanted
and
a
I like
boy.
sports energy.
I mean, like I was just trying to assume the position the best way I knew. LOL, truly. But anyway, going back to this dumbass commissioner that felt that baseball was too strenuous for women after she fucking struck out two of the most major leagues. It just sounds it's giving very insecure. It's giving very I don't want to ruin my baseball for the boys.
Yeah. We can't have her beating real men. What will that say about the nature
integrity of the sport? And I'm like, funny. Oh my god, it's so wild.
Would it openly expose all of the fixing that's going on in the games?
Or just the fat fucks that are like only able to swing a bat and barely able to get on base. I'm like, what other sport can you play into your like mid 40s and 50s and be like kind of overweight and like still be able to do it?
Sure, but also Vegas and all the game odds, because like
we
it's
watched
very
the
clearly
Super Bowl. Like we're very aware of how that works. We watched the whole season.
When US aid support is taken away from you,
crazy
you
how
can't afford to buy the rest anymore.
Gets to go forward.
But
that was brutal.
like that's like obviously probably a huge joke. I mean, Mahomes
it's all conspiracies.
Mahomes is in his head, and he is a legend.
It's tough when you don't work as a team. It's very clear that you're not connected as the team, and that's how it operated.
It felt like the internal motivations were off, and that's why everyone was out of sync.
Everybody was on their own stage in their own head for different reasons.
Kelsey
was in his media production and ready to be in the limelight, A-lister, and has moved on from football.
They were all excited about what happens after the three-peat.
Sure.
And being
you
the three-peat, but they couldn't get through the three-peat. They couldn't focus on what matters to actually winning games the way they have historically. Like it was a completely different team this entire season, but even the Super Bowl especially compared to the last two seasons.
And it's tough
because it felt like they knew that it was for them, but they had everything in their hands, and then they just dropped
all the passes, all the balls.
And I respect, Patrick Mahomes for taking that on his own shoulders because he is the leader there. He sets the tone.
I think accountability.
And I think he'll be back stronger than ever as a result.
He's not going to let that get him down.
That doesn't change. I'm a Lions fan.
It doesn't change the legacy that he's created for himself in in addition
You
to
said he was
a
more
bad
likely to
game.
appear in a Super Bowl at the end of the season than complete any particular pass.
What a lovely statistic I saw was 71% of the time he gets to the Super Bowl, but he has a completed pass 66% of the time, which is it's
Travis
they
Kelce
still
stopped having bricks for hands, and then that number goes higher.
it's kind of that when you don't have a crew that's working with you, then it's very clear that like you're not a team.
Right. I mean, like
There's
you said,
no I
he's
in
more
team,
focused
baby.
on Hollywood than he is on, Houston. We have a problem here.
Oh man. Did you know that red lips are the sign of Satan, or like that was Satan's sign of like basically being a harlot in front of the world and like not giving two shits? I'm like, that's an interesting like full circle on that whole.
That is just a separate tangent that you are bringing up right now. But
I
it is
saw it
interesting.
earlier today, and I was like, oh wow,
You're like
that
stats
checks
from
out.
Instagram.
Well,
A little bit.
I'm like, if she's gonna be reincarnate Xena LeVay or whatever, like clone
Taylor
she
Swift
is,
is
yeah,
the person
the
that's being
Satanist,
alluded
the
to.
head of the Satanist house, Xena LeVay. I'm not. I mean, like, look into whatever you want to. It's just like the faces just look identical, and it all checks
Doppelgangers.
out. And it's interesting that it's choosing the sign of like a red lip is the sign of Satan in some ways. And like
Well, you love red lipstick, so
I love a bold
you're
lip.
like red's
Oh,
your
yeah.
favorite color, also.
I
though,
love
so. I think the real sign of Satanism is the red shoes, the red leather shoes specifically.
like the Louboutins.
No.
I think spending $800 is a fucking crime.
Sure.
I will just paint the bottom of my fucking heels.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably that too, to be honest. But like, yeah, all that crazy shit.
Fuck, I don't even know what we're talking about anymore at this point. Should we get into the story of Jackie?
Sure.
Bring
Why
it on,
not?
Perplexity.
Alrighty. Let's cue it up. Are we gonna let people see me type the prompt, or because I can't multitask?
I know, and we might as well give them insights into what we're doing because I, generally speaking, don't narrate the full sitch.
Well, I mean, you usually do some sort of conversation, try to bring me into it, and then ultimately I was unable to do any sort of multitasking and have no idea what you said.
That is exactly right. So this is Miss Jackie. I love the baseball card, and I love the fucking like. I think the newsletter said it best, and they said that her curves fooled them, like curveballs. And I gave her a little booty. All right, Perplexity, don't let me down. It has been a very hard-ass fucking week. Happy heavenly birthday, Bo. Woo!
A little bit of summertime sadness here this winter.
Fuck, that hit hard. Cool.
So we're just going to be person 1 and person 2 this week because Perplexity feels like not giving us identities to work with. Are you 1 or 2?
That. I'll be number 2 today.
All right, I'll be number 1. And
Cool.
this is codename Kids Next Door.
Bring it on, number 2. Oh my God.
Number
4 was way better.
You're number 2.
Wait, which was the girl?
Well, there's number 4, and
it was number 4 that I liked.
I think number 5 is also a girl too.
Yeah, number 5 is the like screechy, like high pitched girl, and that was not the girl that I liked. I like the girl with the hat.
Number 5 is the one in the green, and number 4 is the one with the red hat. I thought those were flipped.
Hold on, yeah, I need help.
Yeah. No, number 4 is the one in the orange hoodie.
Orange, yeah.
Yeah, I like number 4, but I also like number 1.
So red hat, all right, cast.
Yeah, but number 3 I think is green shirt. Number 5 is red hat.
Number 5. I'm pretty sure I like number 5. And here's the thing, I just get the faces of the cast and I don't get the actual like visuals on the cast. So I have to imagine number 5 was Pre-summer, which is weird. Summertime sadness. What a wild full circle. Oh, I love Lauren Tom, but I
Yeah.
do not affiliate with that character on the show. Anyway,
Good name, Kids Next Door. Great show.
truly,
What a
what a wild ass time we used to live in.
What a great show because it told the metaphorical truth. The villains are always the adults.
When do we turn into villains?
When we lose sight of what the youth are
The
saying.
creativity, yeah.
When we stop listening to people.
When you stop listening to the inner child.
When you stop listening to new ideas.
Truly, you're right. Yeah, all the above. Damn. Yeah. Okay.
So, take that as a warning. You don't have to be old. You will become old. It's a matter of perspective.
We can age and grow gracefully.
Yeah. Ageless. All right. Hey, have you heard of Jackie?
Sorry, that was so not what I was expecting. Why was it so deep?
She was the incredible 17-year-old baseball player who made history back in 1931. Because it's old-timey, and old-timey people sound like this.
Jackie Mitchell? The name sounds familiar, but I'm not sure I know the full story. I can't keep it.
Why are you all Southern? Your old-timey voice is just Southern.
You say it, we're old-timey. I can't keep that up, though.
Okay.
All right, person one. Oh, my God.
Well, get this. She was one of the first female pitchers in professional baseball history. But what really put her in the spotlight was when she struck out Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig in succession during an exhibition game.
Nice. All right, so there's that answer. What? 17-year-old girl striking out two of the greatest baseball players of all time. That's incredible. How did she even get the opportunity to play against them? Honestly, great question. I'd love to know.
It's a great story. I said great story, but it's quite a story. Jackie was born in Chattanooga, Tennessee in 1913. She was actually a premature baby, weighing only about 3 or 4 pounds at birth.
Damn,
her father, who was a physician, raised her on a regimen of fresh air and exercises to build up her strength.
Hell yeah. Worked out. Sounds like she had a supportive family. Did she start playing baseball at a young age?
Absolutely.
I bet she had brothers.
Her father took her to the sandlots as soon as she could walk. But here's the cool part. Her neighbor was Dazzy Vance.
That's a cool ass name.
A future Hall of Fame pitcher. He taught her how to pitch when she was just 7 or 8 years old, including his famous drop ball.
That's cool. I love the name Dazzy Vance.
It's quite a show name.
Not to be confused with dumbass JD Dancing Queen. That's
Also
some incredible mentorship. So how did she end up facing the Yankees?
Well, at 16, she started playing for a women's team called the Angelettes. Then, at 17, she attended a baseball training camp in Atlanta. This caught the attention of Joe Engel, the owner of Chattanooga Lookouts, a minor league team.
That's so wild to think about. 16-year-olds just playing baseball like adults. You know what I mean? Like
that's
they were adults. Yeah.
That's how it happens today.
That's real life.
Like if you're at that caliber,
too.
Yeah, it's every sports league. Soccer.
I feel like
basketball's not as much.
And
baseball's not. But no, baseball is like that. But football's not. Basketball doesn't seem to be. Though basketball does.
I mean, you could get crude, I guess.
I was gonna say, what's the name of the league? Fucking.
Pure League.
No. Back AAU. Oh. AAU is pretty you have teams from different states that are ranked playing against each other. So
baseball?
So no, that's basketball. Oh. So basketball actually kind of has more of that going on at the higher levels.
I'm sure they're recruiting.
Lacrosse is like that. Actually, I would even imagine football is probably like that because the IMG Academy exists.
Yeah.
I mean, that's.
I guess this is all for entertainment, so at this point, the infrastructure is probably built up. But
yeah, if you're going to become a professional athlete and your parents have the resources, you can go into the training fucking programs when you're very young.
It's so crazy to think about.
Yeah, like, do people even know there's a whole like private school in Florida dedicated to training professional athletes and developing
No, I
them?
did not until literally you just said that.
It's called the IMG Academy.
So this dude, Mr. Engel, signed her to the team?
Exactly. On March 25th, 1931, she signed with the Lookouts, becoming only the second woman to play organized baseball. A few days later, on April 2nd, the Lookouts had an exhibition game against the New York Yankees.
So that's when she faced Ruth and Gehrig, huh?
You got it. Jackie wasn't the starting pitcher, but she was brought in to face Babe Ruth, and what happened next was nothing short of amazing. She struck Ruth out on just 4 pitches, then immediately struck out Gehrig on 3 straight pitches.
That's truly unbelievable. A crowd must have gone wild. Wow, I really don't have much speaking in this, but like I'm setting you up brilliantly.
You chose number 2.
I know I did. I just expected there to be more weight in both of them, but keep going.
Yeah, they never do a good job of that.
Well, they were doing a great job, way better than ChatGPT.
When they gave them characters, but as soon as they
give person 1, person 2, it's just like fuck person 2, I guess. Okay,
yeah, all people don't matter, clearly.
Yeah, Jesus.
If you're not a 1,
if you're not first, you're last.
Well, I mean, getting back to the blood type conversation from last night, did you know in Japan, I believe, maybe it's Korea.
Okay.
Pardon those, slight a bit of racism, but not knowing the difference right here, which one this is. But regardless, yeah, well, that's probably making it worse. So anyways, one of those 2 countries, though, specifically has a culture of discrimination against B-type blood types.
Interesting.
And it's because they think that they're prone to degeneracy and impromptu behavior and kind of things that they think models bad behavior
in a different way. Like if you are aware of somebody's maybe
I say this as a type B person.
Right. Yeah. Noted. But it's like if you're able to reflect on the things that you don't necessarily like out of that person or character, then like why wouldn't you be able to like help support them in like working through some of those things? Like it just feels like eugenics in a different way.
Yeah, I mean, like, I've been capable of developing executive function to manage my chaotic self. It's just like it took effort and intention to do so.
It's giving, I mean, like, this is all alleged, but this feels very like World War II and like hints of Japanese.
No, we're not there yet. Crimes. We're leading into it. We still have to go through the Great Depression ahead of us and a financial crash before that.
Fun.
We are in
the financial crash part.
No, we're in the roaring crypto 20s. We got a few more years where the haves have a lot and the have-nots are trying to get it.
Or grasping. Go ahead.
And that's before the fall. Then a lot of people will be grasping. Well, unless, WEF or whatever comes in and saves us in 2030.
They won't. They're literally just
you'll rent
take their
everything and love it.
Yeah, you'll own nothing and love it. I'm like, I can't with Larry Fink, and I'm like, ooh.
No, you can't say Voldemort's name. I know that there's multiple Voldemorts, but that's one of the names.
It would take on
average. He looks more like Voldemort, though.
2 months to get rid of all of the CEOs, and I know that that's not an answer, but it could be a very interesting proposition.
I have to clarify the statistic you're sharing because right now it sounds really fucked up.
Oh, sure.
So the statistic here is that if we cared about, well, actually, if
the rate of school shooters,
the rate of school shootings and the number of deaths of children in those school shootings occurred at the same frequency to the CEOs of large public corporations.
We should really tag that creative because she was incredible who brought that up. Thank you so much for that. If you know, you know.
At the same rate, we would not have public CEOs in 2 months. At least each one of the public CEOs that are currently occupying the seat would be gone. Obviously, a new person comes into the seat and you start over again. But basically, the refresh rate of the CEOs would be every 2 months, technically.
Okay, so the creator is, oh my goodness, show me this story. Why? Added to view full reel. God, I feel so old.
Did you know that if American
Okay, so Imperfect Activista
same rate as American children?
We might as well just let her give her spiel.
Did you know that if American billionaires were killed by gun violence at the same rate as American children were, we would run out of them in 2 months? There are 756 American billionaires, and according to sandyhook.org, there are an average of 12 American children who die due to gun violence every single day. At that rate, it would take 63 days for there not to be billionaires in America right now, and that's who's being protected. Not you, not your kids, not anyone trying to go to school, not anyone trying to go to work, not anyone going to a concert or a movie. That's who's being protected, not you. Did you know that?
Thanks, sweet. Really, really appreciate the perspective. What an interesting statistic.
Just to clarify, you're not advocating to go kill more people.
No, definitely not. But I think it would be wise to start reconsidering whose lives are valuable here and like what we're actually intending for on this earth. If we're not putting more into
what we're communicating to
individuals.
people about whose lives are valuable.
You know, take with everything with a grain of salt and take what you need.
Yeah, I just like to add more clarity because I think the framing helps people.
Well, it definitely was nice to be able to give her a shout out because that was a great video overall.
Cool.
So ultimately, ready to get back into the story whenever you're ready.
The crowd did go wild. There was a lengthy standing ovation, but unfortunately, Jackie's professional career was short-lived. Just a few days later, baseball commissioner Kennesaw Mountain Landis, sounds like the most outlandish name I've ever heard, voided her contract, claiming that baseball was too strenuous for women.
I'm sorry, what the fuck? That's so unfair. What happened to Jackie after that? Yeah, that's a great question because I can't believe somebody else had the ability to just shut down somebody else's career like that.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
Yeah.
That's patriarchy.
I mean, that's a league commissioner.
That's some dumbass shit, man.
Yup.
That is some insecure ass shit, man.
She continued to play baseball for a while, including with barnstorming teams like the House of David. But feeling frustrated with being treated as a sideshow, she retired from baseball at 23 and went to work with her father in his optometry business.
Wild.
Her dad was an eye doctor who encouraged her to play baseball. Let's just let that sink in. That's
truly dope. I mean, like, what a shame for her career, for someone that literally loved the sport so much to have it ripped away from her to the point where she's just like, I don't even want to do this anymore. Do you think her achievement was legitimate or was it just publicity stunt? I'm not. What a dumb fucking question.
That's been a subject of debate for years.
I would never have asked that question. That feels like a man that asked that fucking question. Go ahead.
Some people argue it was a publicity stunt.
Some people,
others
some men,
believe in
some
Jackie's
boys.
skill. Regardless, her story highlighted the barriers women face in professional sports.
Continue.
To this time.
Oi, what about her legacy? How is she remembered today? I'm really disappointed in this fucking story.
Jackie Mitchell is remembered as a pioneer for women in baseball. She passed away in 1987, but her story continues to inspire. In 1993, the National Association of Professional Baseball Leagues finally ruled that women could play against men in minor league baseball. Jackie's courage and skill paved the way for the future generations of female athletes.
I just get back to the same competition question. If you don't think that you can compete against them, you choose to like isolate them from it. Wild. Wow, what an incredible story. Jackie Mitchell is truly a baseball sensation, wasn't she?
She absolutely was. Her story reminds us the importance of breaking barriers and challenging societal norms. Jackie Mitchell may have only pitched for 2/3 of an inning in professional baseball. I think she's probably pitched more than that, but maybe it was really only that. But her impact has lasted for generations. So
I never knew about this baddie, and I wish that more people knew about this baddie. That's fucking nuts that a 16-year-old / 17-year-old like baseball prodigy didn't get her full story in Baseball Hall of Fame, any of it, because some jackass basically she did feel like a sideshow. Of course she did. No, you can outcompete the best baseball players of any league, but no, you have to sit over here and play in some other like spot. I'm fucking floored. This is 100 years ago, almost.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if we're in a better position today. Not with, I mean, like, there's so many things that have happened.
The Chattanooga Lookouts still exist.
That's cool.
And they honored Mitchell in 2017, but, you know, basically with a bobblehead. So it's not much of an honoring. I mean, like, it is in the sense that, like, it's a collectible and she finally is being recognized, but it's also, like,
I'm like, I didn't hear about it. Yeah, wow.
Not a statue in your stadium.
No fucking videos. I would, like, the documentaries on this baddie, I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with society? I'm so sick of hearing about dumb-ass billionaires making more money than ever and paying no money in taxes for those fucking companies they're getting grants, millions of dollars in grants for. And I would just prefer hearing about these baddies. I know there's more out there. So please feel free to write in anybody you need, that needs to have their story shared. Because, like, Jesus Christ, we've got to stop circling on these fucking sharks.
So that team she played for, the House of David, they were known for long hair and long beards, and she would sometimes wear a fake beard with them for publicity.
I love it.
But then they had her ride a donkey to pitch at some point, and that's basically the final straw.
Yeah.
And then when the All-American Girls Professional League formed in 43, she refused to come out of retirement. Sure. There was the piece, obviously, about no contracts that lasted all the way until 1992, when a new bad bitch that we'll have to cover, Carrie Schuler, was drafted by the Chicago White Sox for the 1993 season.
Did she actually get a play?
And in 1982, Mitchell came out to throw a ceremonial first pitch for the Chattanooga Lookouts on their season opening day. So, okay, they did better than a bobblehead, and about 30 years earlier than they did the bobblehead. So,
well,
it's still not good enough.
40 years too late for a baddie that was before her time.
There's only so much the one team could do against the commissioner of a league. There is.
You can start your own league. Like, the NFL does it all the time, but they're like, nope, can't stick my neck out for a 17-year-old that's just, like, clearly beyond her years.
The NFL does not just start leagues all the time. The last
time they fucking
a successful league started was in the 1950s, and that was the NFL when they AFL.
So you're saying it can happen.
It hasn't happened. The last time it happened, Israel didn't exist.
Oh, well, if we could only get back to that time.
You really want to go back to the 1950s?
Listen.
Are you secretly MAGA? Because I didn't think you were MAGA.
I just am so there's at no point. Wow, would a lobotomy feel simpler than this? Yes, but would I have the same constraints and irritations?
I need your brain too much. I wouldn't give you the luxury of having a lobotomy as your husband.
Ew. I didn't like any of those words.
But at the same time, you kind of did.
We wouldn't have met because I would have been put in an institution because I would have been trying to go to college and I wouldn't have been able to as a woman. I don't know, some dumb shit like that. All right. So Carrie Schuler drafted for the Chicago White Sox in 93.
Yep.
Alrighty.
And this is why it's fun to check the sources.
Though. 93.
That's a year older than me. That's 31.
But that was the first year that women were able to play in a minor league against men. Is that not 94?
No, they said something in the 80s was the...
87 is when she died. 94 is when
Look, right here. It says in 93... Oh, yeah. So that's just a wrong fact. Because, actually, that probably does make sense because...
She was the first one.
Well, right. And so while she was drafted by the White Sox, she was drafted to play for a minor league team.
Right.
And that's why that rule changed. But no player has made it to the majors still is the...
Supposedly. But, like, I'm just like, it just seems like gatekeeping to me.
Yeah.
I wonder, so who inspired the League of Her Own? I've never seen the movie, but I'm just like, it has to be some sort of relation in some way.
Of their own.
And then I just think of the Alexandra Daddario movie where she's like, oh yeah, I've never seen it.
So that baseball league that Jackie Mitchell was asked to play in 43
was a part
was
of it.
the league
Gotcha.
that is the
Inspired
league
it.
it is the league of a league of their own.
Oh, gotcha.
You know, who inspired a league of their own?
Was
this is the league that is
the league of their own. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Wow.
That's what
What
it's
a
so hard to
fucking-
convey that, but the film is based on the true story of how women saved baseball during World War II when many male players were drafted into military service.
Are you fucking kidding me? Of course. We're just like filling the slots and then
they decided to keep the league going after the war ended, basically.
except for they couldn't play against the men because that didn't happen until 50 years later and still not even against them in the major leagues. It's just like, at what point do you accept that women are like within an equal playing field of humanity? How many times do we have to come in and fill the gap before like you recognize the gap needed to be filled in the first place? Because like I think we're all kind of sick of it at this point. Can you give me the quote about players hiring a... No. Can you give me the quote about a players hiring a players? Yeah, I don't know. I didn't know either. Perplexity. Oh, fuck. What an interesting, crazy ass story. Got me all heated and worked up, and now I'm like drained. Jackie, thank you for your service. I wonder where she reincarnated to. Like, whose energy? Do you think it was Carrie Schuler? I don't know. No, because she would have died like 87, and Carrie Schuler was on 93, so there's at least 20 years in between there. But
all right, so this is actually a Steve Jobs or Guy Kowalski quote, and it goes: A players hire A players, B players hire C players, and C players hire D players. It doesn't take long to get to Z players. And its whole point is basically insecure people put inferior people below themselves, while secure and confident people find other secure and confident people to empower. Although every now and then they empower an insecure person, and then that spirals and creates a chain of bad shit. And so it gets back to, why does a B player get to dictate why an A player can't be in the league? Because that's what B players do.
Yeah, insecurity rules the world, especially when patriarchy's on its fucking like neck.
The things that people complain about patriarchy are just B players, insecurity, and positions of power. A player men don't do that. Maybe some of them do play those games,
but they're not A players then.
Right. Or they're doing it in a way that's just like unconscious, that needs to be cleared out because of the B players that have created as the culture that normalized it. Like, there is problems that go back that way in a way. I mean, A players can rise above it, and they should, but they still have things to work on, is my point. Nobody's perfect.
For sure.
And especially that group of people. Yeah, that's right. And we were talking about it earlier. ELBs often don't get poked out of their little bubbles to need, some awareness checked to them or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, fuck, ain't that the truth?
But it's just like you've never had the perspective raised to you, and in a way where you want to have a conversation about it.
If it is, yeah, you just choose to not listen to it because
most people are scared. Ultimately, they don't like change.
So
that's literally a psychologically, it's called loss aversion. They feel personally attacked at a change that they perceive as loss, and that threat is felt twice as much as anyone's perceived gain.
So how do you go about it? how do you go about
It's
basically,
awareness of the fact that that's
they
what
have
you're
to make that their
Yeah.
own awareness. Like,
Right.
I can't do that for them. So
And
like, how do
A
you
players are already internally motivated to improve themselves. So the more awareness you shed to them about what's going on and also the benefits of correcting those problems, they will actively do the work to do that.
sometimes
What do you do about the B and the C and the
sure. If you're an A player, you're going to
right,
look
because
to
you're already
improve
you
upon yourself. You're
internally
right.
have that.
This is what I'm asking about. Yeah, what do I do about the B and C players that don't understand or can't
Not
meet
enough of the
right.
A players are aware of the problem to communicate it and force new norms onto the B, C, D, Z players. We are at that turning point where the A players are starting to communicate it, understand it, whatever, and take action on it. I think that's a part of the moment we are at culturally. I think that's what your Pink Pill podcast you're always showing me
It's so
about.
funny. I was gonna bring them up. Pink Pill RX. Oh my god, I love them. Shout out.
Anyways, my whole point is I think that conversation is being had today, right? And so what does that look like to ripple out to the Z people? I think that's a matter of time to see. You know, it's like this shit, but it's also like, how do we have the conversation in a way that doesn't make those people feel insecure in their masculinity?
That's what I'm
because
like, I can't seem to do it, and I won't be able to break them in any, like, not break them, but like break through to them because of literally me as the person that
and
I
the
am.
way to
like,
talk to them,
you as a man that can like say the exact same words that I am, and somehow it gets through to them through you.
Yeah, but it's also because I have to say it differently, because I have to
the exact same words.
No, sometimes it's the tone of jackassery and camaraderie that you're bringing someone in on the conversation instead of lecturing them.
But I can't come in with the jackassery and
because
camaraderie because
they're
it's
insecure
inferiority and they think I'm punching at them.
Because you're not them.
Hey,
they can't see they can't, not to be demeaning about it, but like right now, their insecurity makes it hard for them to perceive information from other people that are different than them.
I understand.
Like everyone else, and they have to outgrow that.
Of the implications of women talking to insecure men and them feeling like they're on a hot seat as a result of that. And
it's like that show, that stupid podcast that I hate, whatever podcast. Yeah. That's literally the name of it. Not a recommendation.
No.
Fuck those guys. They facilitate fucking the most retarded conversations I've ever heard.
Clickbait bullshit that
it is clickbait bullshit. They can't hold themselves in a real discussion. Every single time they get a competent person pushing back on them, they're like, ad break. And then let's it's not ad break. No, it's literally attack and demoralize you.
Sure. That
and
also
pick you apart on things that are not the argument.
That is so clear of all narcissists. They will just basically find anything they can in order to make themselves feel better about the.
I'm like, once you pivot from the discussion, you lost it. You're just choosing a new argument because you lost the first one and you can't fucking handle it.
It ain't so.
Anyways, but like talking to the B to Z people and trying to communicate how much of a little bitch they look like when they act like that puts the other people you're trying to put up on a pedestal and like, or like not necessarily even put up on a pedestal, but just be like, hey, look, like they're like also people too that you need to hear and listen and respect and have fucking conversations with and not be such a little bitch about. You offend the people that you're trying to support because you're talking like that. But it's like, look, I'm just trying to relate the context here. You know, like, let's be real about it.
Trying to bridge a gap. And it's like, you're not able to see the fucking gap, then it's like kind of your own problem. Fall into the hole. I don't know.
Well, my whole thing is that many people are afraid to address the problem head on in terms of communications because the conversation that needs to be had is the furthest thing from PC.
Most people aren't
just to convey the fucking conversation.
Right, because most people can't take accountability for their own actions because they don't want to be seen as XYZ.
Sure, but the level of empathy required to get in a conversation with some of these people to start educating them on the topic to bring them a conversation necessitates putting you in a position that makes you look way worse as a person than you really are.
Well, hi.
No, I'm just saying, like,
Right.
that's what many of the people who are otherwise responsible for doing this work today are not doing it.
Healthy relationships aren't necessarily going to make you feel good all the time, because they're going to be mirrors for the things that you need to continue to work on. So, like, whether that be like relationship here or relationship with your friends, you should be able to call out your friends' bullshit and feel comfortable doing so. And if you're not, then like you're not with the right friends or relationships.
Right, but isolating and cutting people off doesn't solve the problem
No.
of getting those people to change.
You're right,
and
but you
you're
have to
in a
hold your
position to do-
boundaries. And if they're stepping over boundaries where
It's
they're
like
crossing
you can't
and hurting
look at it
you,
as getting people to change either.
no,
'cause you
that's
can't
their
do
choice.
that. No, all you can just basically do is, like, I don't know, make fun of them for having
That's not helpful.
But
No.
dude, like, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to help change them or not help change them? Because they facilitate change on a certain level, because that's where they're at. Like,
It's,
you know, you need to like, some people are motivated by ridicule, and that subsection of people are more motivated by ridicule.
I think positive feedback is always the most impactful, but I think it's calling into question. It's like, what are you doing?
Right.
That's
Well,
like as neutral as I can get about it. Like, what are you doing right now?
yeah, but that's like being a naggy, like, whatever. Like, I'm just saying, like, that's not how you go about it.
So you think that
I'm saying,
further
like,
egging them on is a better methodology than like just being like neutral?
yeah, for like the like men who are trying to communicate with their friends, yes, 100%.
For men that are communicating with their friends, and I think that's the
And
context
also
of it.
other
I
men
don't think
groups.
that right. I don't think
The discussion right
like
now
I can do whatever the fuck I want, but
No,
like
but,
I'm
like,
not gonna get to someone
sure,
if I'm
but that's not what we're
ridiculing
talking
them.
about at all.
Like I can ridicule my
Maddie,
Uncle
the
Greg
discussion
all I
is
want.
how do we change this and who's responsible for initiating
And
that
it's- and
change.
it's
And
men,
that's
right.
what we're
And so-
talking about.
okay,
So you're
like,
getting caught up in derailing exactly what I said was going to get
not
derailed.
trying to get
No,
derailed.
but you
I'm
are.
just like, how do I fucking like have a
You don't.
conversation? And
You-
I'm like, oh, okay, so
you-
I just literally just don't get to talk to him. Okay.
In some regard, yeah, because like, look, you already know that your voice is falling on deaf ears. You sent me the fucking pink pill podcast thing earlier today. When your voice is falling on deaf ears, it's like, who comes in
Drop
to
it.
amplify that perspective?
Sure, you would, but like
Right,
the,
and
the
that- I'm saying
expectation
that-
is wild.
But my point is,
Sure.
regardless of your voice not being heard in that moment or not, the group that's responsible for affecting change to those other groups is the same group, right?
Yeah. And so
It's
that's
that A group of specific subsection of like
emotionally
privileged
intelligent
men,
individuals that
yeah,
were beyond the 8
who
to 11
care
year old
about
emotional
improving
intelligence
themselves,
age range.
actually fucking using their voice to
Why are we talking so loud?
rib people, because you like decided to escalate this, but you rib.
I'm saying we can drop it down.
No, but the way that you communicate with your friends is not by like telling them like, hey, don't do that. Like, it's by making fun of them for doing the things that they do and being self-conscious about it and being like, well, why am I being made fun of for this in some kind of way?
Okay.
And then there's like some actual reflection that starts to happen.
Maybe.
Ridicule leads to self-reflection in some of these instances. They don't get enough ridicule because a lot of these people
Agreed.
that you're talking about who antagonize women are also the ones in the friend group who are rapid fire antagonizing their friends, saying all the most outrageous stuff. So if you
Sometimes, but also I counter the ones that are getting shit on in their friend groups are the ones that are actively shitting on women the most because they think that they have like, oh, well, if I get shit on, it's
yeah, but they're shitting.
The power exchange.
There is that happening as well, but they're shitting on that friend for the wrong reason, and it's the other friend, like it's the loud rapid fire one who's setting the red pill tone.
Sure.
That is then punching down
The
on
fake
like
alpha.
on the nerdy kind of like soft, thoughtful person who won't stand up for themselves, and everyone else kind of joins in, and this person is just like that, or does take it, internalizes it, and becomes like a nasty, mean person and projects that out. In both instances, is shitty. But the point that I'm trying to make is the communication process here is not to just like, hey, let's like talk about this and like
Fine.
whatever. It's like,
do what you gotta do. I'm just like, what in the fuck is?
well, I'm
with
trying to do what
not-
I've got to do, which is communicate to other people what they should be doing, because it's not just one person's responsibility. But I'm not saying women can do this. I'm saying that.
And that's where I get back to. I'm like, that's kind of fucking lame that you can only listen to a certain subset of human beings. Like, what if you're not sucking on your mom's tit? You're like only listening to red pills? That's okay.
I mean, but Maddie, it's a journey to get them to hear you right now. They mostly just hear you insulting them.
Right. Well, again, they're not listening to me anyway, so they're just wait, here's what it is. They're listening for the 1-2 words that they can use to then just take off on whatever tangent they want to make themselves feel better.
Right. That's
Without
the
ever
whatever
solving-
podcast, and that's why I was saying I hate
Right.
that podcast so
For
much.
sure.
So that's a full circle. If you like the whatever podcast or the Tape Brothers,
You're not here.
You're-
You're
Prob-
probably not here.
you're
If
probably
you are,
a
you're a
Z.
troll.
You're probably a Z player.
Mm.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, fuck. It's been another goddamn
We
episode.
gotta bring it full circle one more time and say sports should be unisex.
Let
hands
the
down.
most competitive prevail. Like if
Yeah,
you
let the best athlete prevail. If you feel more comfortable competing in a skirt and you were born with a penis or whatever, great. But everyone should compete on the same field all at once. There should be no worries about what, is going on under the hood. You're just a person competing in a sport.
Yep.
If it's a team sport, your teammates are your teammates. You still have a goal to accomplish. It's
Right.
really not that hard. Weak players won't stay on a team because teams can't support weak players. So the best should rise up.
right.
If that's a woman like Jackie sometimes, stop being a little bitch about it.
Truly.
And
step
if you
up.
are going to be a little bitch about it, go play in the boys' league.
Truly. We're so sick of it. I'm like truly.
Yeah.
Let the
it's-
competition reign free.
Absolutely. All the boys who are afraid of competing against girls can have their own separate league where they're protected. And the real men who like to compete as athletes can compete against the best athletes in the
Yeah.
world, no matter, again, what's going on under the hood. Because
Yeah.
that's really how sports should work.
That's
So,
exactly right.
And also for women that want to feel safe and not have to do the male competition, but want to compete.
Perfectly understandable.
Women's
really,
league, we
truly get
support
it.
that. Like,
Hell yeah.
and there should still be, dedicated budgets to supporting all of
Resources
these
for all.
things. There should be.
I want to see the fucking intramural competition.
Exactly.
Oh my God. Give me the
But
best
the
of the
scholarships
best.
are only for the varsity
Yeah,
unisex
the best of the
team.
best.
Absolutely.
Simple. Seems very easy. You want to continue to play for 4 more years? Do whatever you got to do.
Absolutely. Elevated rec leagues. That's why club team sports exists. We can even get that at a varsity level. It's just not going to be scholarshiped.
Ain't that the truth?
Anyways.
Oh, fuck. It's been another episode. I like that full circle on the back end of that because Jackie deserved her choice. And for all the bad bitches that are looking to compete with the highest caliber of competition, nothing should stop you.
Yeah.
We're on the way up.
She didn't want a league of her own. She just wanted to play in the league.
Right.
And I'm
She
sure
was
that
the league. And
I'm sure there's plenty of women today who still
absolutely.
and likely are probably good enough to compete.
Literally, I'm like fucking put Steph Curry, Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese onto a court, and I just like let them duke it out. I want to see it so bad.
Well,
Those are 3 people. There's 5 people that you need at least for one team. I fucking get it, but I'm just like those are the 3 names that I really want to see playing with like intramural games.
I mean, the deep.
I want to see the big Jokovic. I like him too. He can play.
That's going to be a very interesting game.
Oh, I love it. Oh my God. I'm really just like, I'm going to reminisce now.
Here's
I'm
the
gonna
thing.
think about it.
Djokovic, total misogynist, hates women type man.
Hates everything.
Well, absolutely.
Hates everything.
Hates everything.
I like
specifically.
it.
loves his wife, loves his family, doesn't
That's
hate
good.
women that way. But anyways, long story short is he hates things so much he wouldn't care. He just be
Yeah,
like,
he's
fine,
like, fuck it, I'll play.
I outcompete you. Fine.
Yeah. Let's go.
And I do respect that on some level because that's what I'm talking about when I say real athletes.
Right.
He's like,
the
I'm just here to
purity of
get
the sport.
paid. I am really good
I'm
and
7 foot something. I can fucking do it.
I know what I do.
in like hell yeah, bring it on. I want to see it.
Anyways, yeah, and then personally, it'd be cool to see a Katie Ledecky, Michael Phelps, Ryan Lochte kind of American relay.
Sure, could
Or
see
like,
that.
there's
The
some
relay would be
relays.
fun.
Yeah, like the medleys, I bet would actually be
So
better if they were
cool.
mixed. Maybe
Yeah.
not. It kind of depends on the year and the athlete combination, to be
Sure.
honest, because swimming is such a like age-based sport. Also,
Yeah, you kind of lose a
Yeah.
lot after a little bit, but
I'm
like
dating myself by saying that Ryan Lochte and Michael Phelps should be in this. They're like retired in like slow and
okay, but like who's been that big of a swimming name since those three? You know,
I mean, Katie Ledecky is
today.
the name.
Yeah, today.
She is the name right now.
For all intents and purposes, that was like the two names were Ryan Lochte and Michael. It was Michael Phelps, then it was Ryan Lochte. You know.
Yeah, and I could name other ones, but those no one would know.
Yeah, we could, but we'd be stretching.
Yeah, I used to get the Team USA swimming catalog mailed to me.
Oh my god, that's so cute. We know.
It didn't cost me money. I was part of the whatever the league was called that I was in. I forget the name of the league.
You paid through the yacht club to get the
No, not that
$4
league.
thing.
Not that league.
Okay.
That's the summer league. Also, cool fact about that summer league: oldest swim summer league in the country started during World War II, 1940s.
Noted.
Yeah.
In Detroit?
Yeah, in Detroit on Belle Isle. That was back when I don't know if it was the boat club or the Detroit Yacht Club, but they had an Olympic sized swimming pool there. It was like dope as fuck.
Want to my heart goes out to all of the families that are downriver right now and are experiencing what they said was a burst water pipe, but that does not seem like a burst water pipe. I don't know how you can be under like 3 foot of pure water that then is frozen over. I really hope that everyone is safe and able to stay warm, but Jesus Christ, that is some of the craziest shit I've ever seen.
It's happening in my favorite part of town too.
That's
where all of the Mexican restaurants are. I mean, that's Mexican town.
Of course.
Southwest Detroit, specifically, is where this is happening, which is downriver, but it's immediately downriver, not downriver, which is likely not feeling this or seeing it. That term is often more about the suburbs that are a little further south.
The immediate.
I just wanted to give shout out to Southwest
to
Detroit also,
yeah.
specifically,
yeah.
And Mexican Town and those neighborhoods, because they've meant so much to me throughout my life.
Yeah, they've just had like a huge rebuilding of their like road infrastructure, and
well, that's where the new Gordie Howe Bridge just got built.
That's nuts.
So they didn't fix the water gradient off the river, which is clearly contributing to the flooding because the water table is basically
sitting underneath it.
Yeah, the elevation is higher than the water table, so the water table came out of the ground, obviously, to the point of 3 feet above the ground in Southwest Detroit. So that's a frozen river. Like you said, electricity's out, heat's out for many of these people, and it's just, if I know there's probably links going around, so look into supporting that if you can find one of those links. Check Metro Detroit's local news websites for them.
Yeah. Fuck. Don't give money to nonprofits. They just take it and use it for themselves. I don't know what to say about anything right now. I'm like, give to the families immediately, but God, if you're like,
yeah, I mean, you have to know them.
In connection with those families immediately, I'm so sorry, like, because they're probably dealing with like way other things. Like $50 here is not gonna help.
Yeah.
Oh my.
And it's a low-income neighborhood.
Generally
speaking.
Of course. Right, because why would they rebuild?
Well, they didn't rebuild. They just built a new bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah. That bridge was lobbied against by a family I know for years because they own the other bridge.
What the fuck?
Yep, that's business politics and how it all works on a local level. That happens obviously at a federal level too, on much bigger projects and much more important things. But to be fair, this project isn't insignificant. It's a bridge to Canada. It's an international bridge. It's a port of entry for millions and millions, like trillions of dollars even, of cargo that flows up cross-border trade-wise between Canada and the United States.
Gotcha.
It's one of the largest border transits.
I didn't know that was the bridge. I thought it was just like a bridge over the freeway.
No.
That we were talking about.
No. The new bridge to Canada that got built, the Gordie Howe International Bridge.
Gotcha.
Talking about sports legends, Gordie Howe.
Oh, well.
Do we want to clarify what Lou Gehrig's disease is at all?
Yeah, let's do that on this.
Before we wrap up at this point?
As I tried to wrap up like 20 minutes ago.
We love a good Midwest goodbye.
Truly, we support it, we live it, we breathe it, we forget it exists, and then we come back full circle 20 minutes later.
Well, I want to say more things. I like talking.
You don't say.
That's why we do this podcast, so I can help talk.
LOL.
Let me make sure I'm sharing the screen. There we go.
All right, so Lou Gehrig's disease is officially known as amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. Is a progressive neurodegenerative disease or disorder that affects the nervous system. It primarily targets your motor neurons in the brain and the spinal cord, which are responsible for controlling voluntary muscle movement. Wow, that's awful. He basically had, ALS. Oh, weird. So ALS is Lou Gehrig's disease. Oh, okay.
There it is.
Yeah. So this is, I'm like, MS and ALS sound very similar.
That's because they're multiple sclerosis.
Right. So this one's just like one specific.
Lateral sclerosis. So it's whether, I guess.
But this one's for the motor neurons, and I think
isn't MS also motor neurons, or is it more than just motor neurons?
Yeah, because you can like wake up and be
it's
blind.
Multiple.
Right? Yeah. So that's where I was trying to figure out. I was like, that's nuts. I wonder if this is a result of like pushing your body so hard in sports and not feeding it the like proper nutrients. I don't know.
Yeah, well, it
Most
could be that
cases of ALS are sporadic, meaning they have no known cause, 5 to 10% familial genetic. Yeah, I mean, like, interesting. Well, I'm glad that I got full circle on that. Wild.
So, it was an episode of Sports Legends and Education, and hopefully tearing down some toxic masculinity, one convo at a time.
We push through the conversations to get to the solutions on the back end, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think you just forget that I was talking about a solution for other men to use as a strategy when talking to their Z player friends.
Well, it's not even that. I was just like, what I'm just flabbergasted and like hung up on is like, oh, I can't do anything. Like it's literally something where I'm like, oh, I just can't talk to you, I guess. Because that's all you're telling me is like,
yeah, but that's even what your Pink Pill podcast said. It's like there are certain instances where it's just like you can rattle the shades all you want or rattle the window all you want, but you're really just wasting your energy.
Yeah, and so why waste your energy? So
and it's more antagonistic also because it's like a bee inside of a cup and you're shaking it. And it's like it's not going to kill you if it gets out and stings you or anything, right? But like all you're doing is angering it. And you're not communicating. It's so wild
because but here's the thing, like
that's not even what you're doing.
Right,
is shaking the glass.
Is bothering them to the detriment where they're gonna stick themselves or kill themselves.
It's really more so talking creates a vibration that shakes the container that they can't handle.
So women's existence. Yeah, it's so,
I'm just trying to help give a visual.
Sure, it was very visual. I'm just like I see them.
Well, I just meant like you're not actually trying to shake it.
Right. I see them visually going like this as you and I end up in conversation, and I'm like, what is going on with this crazy ass energy over here? And like, yeah, lo and behold, it's literally just that. Like, you can say and do whatever you want to, because at the end of the day, somebody's always going to either interpret you as the hero or villain in their story, depending on how they perceive you and themselves.
Yeah, and most people see themselves as a hero who's attacked by everyone, which is kind of a sad story if you think about it.
Right. Well, I mean, like,
why would you tell that story to yourself?
Why do you want to be a victim?
Yeah, well, they're a hero.
Sure.
They're the ones who feel like victims they might lash out also.
When there's like
when they deny that they're in pain.
When there's everyone else to blame but yourself, then you're the victim.
Yeah, well, like, you're behaving like the victim,
right?
Even if you're not
an actual, right? I mean, like, listen, victim or survivor, we're all like products of circumstances.
Yes, but that behavior is not a survivor mindset reflection. It's a victim mindset.
It's very lashing out and like stuck in defense corner, and I'm like, okay.
And red pillars hate victim mindsets, so get your little bitch asses
out of victims. Like they pretend like they are.
Don't point out.
Don't let them know. Oh, okay, sorry. What did you? Well, you're not gonna say they're survivors either because they're like, "Oh, I never had anything hard happen to me."
Well, I mean, life is hard. They would say that. I'm a survivor of life, but who isn't a survivor of life? And that's the problem.
Tater Tot would ever like admit that life gets hard, but maybe. Well, with his chin, I have to imagine it is pretty hard to like eat solid food.
I mean, lots of people probably don't admit life's hard, but we all know life's hard. It's right. The ones who aren't really acknowledging it, but living a hard life, are lashing out because they're the victims that aren't recognizing that life is hard. I mean, life's not equally hard for everyone, but life's hard for everyone in different ways. It's like we face challenges. That's what life's about.
And if you're comparing your hard life for somebody like to somebody else's to say that yours is worse or better, like shut the fuck up, go sit down in your own lane and like focus on your own self.
Don't get me wrong, there are clearly people
struggle harder for sure.
Honestly, almost everyone has probably struggled harder than I have. So, that's like the reality you live with. And at the same time, it's like, yeah, I've had challenges too. So like at times I can understand what it's like to persist through a challenge or a struggle, but I don't know what it is to face that magnitude of a challenge maybe, or for the duration that you've had to experience
the constant having to get up and the resilience of like getting punched down and then having
or that's just the default perspective that you have to accept on some level, and there are very few things in my life that I can point out that I can relate to in terms of that. So it is a blind spot for me, and that's why it's so important to have conversations.
It's that you have to be open and willing to hear other people's perspective in order to grow from the perspectives that you have.
Yeah. And one of the good ways of getting started, if you're afraid of talking to people, is just read books from different cultures.
Sure.
It's a really lazy way to do it. Well, I mean, it's not that lazy.
It's a good hack. I mean, it's a good way of getting perspective without having to ask the questions that you may feel like are inappropriate.
I think it's a starting point. I think it's a starting point. Sure. I think there's no way you can do it without starting to talk to people and have conversations.
It's an individual basis.
But if it helps you get more comfortable and familiar, consume content so you can feel more comfortable engaging and being present when you're there. Because you're not disoriented by the things you're encountering because you soft introduce them to yourselves beforehand.
You can gain further clarification on the things that you wanted to know after you, it's all about having the like words to speak to.
I think it's more about a personal connection. It's more about developing a relationship with someone from another culture, and to the point in which you can ask questions where you're like, I don't know how to ask this question appropriately. Mm-hmm. It's something I'm curious about. Can you share your perspective on this? And obviously that's a good way to go about doing it, and people don't have that so readily at their head.
And that's where I was like, it helps to have the context with the words and what you were saying with like reading information.
So much more helpful though also to just develop a genuine relationship with people from that.
Absolutely, because at the end of the day, we're only human.
Well, they can read your intent.
Their human experience, and yes. I mean, like, sure, you can say
like they can get offended and be like, "Don't ask that," and it's like, "Oh, I'm sorry." That,
You can also tell how people ask questions based on like what they're looking to get from the information. And I have never been. It's so crazy how people will literally like prime you to get the most juicy information or the negatives that they get to latch into and then like claim to.
Are you talking about the honeypot spy tactic?
No, I'm talking about my uncle basically like asking how like losing my job was going, and then like getting my job hasn't even talked about it since. I'm like, it's very clear what people are looking to latch into is like whatever like negative is going on in your life. If people are just looking to see how you're doing in those moments in time and not checking in when you're like in better lights as well, then they're literally just looking to see you in your downfall.
Yeah, they're feeding off your negative energy. They're excited to see you struggle.
You hurt. And I'm like, you didn't know that there are people in your life that could possibly ever want to see you hurting.
It's Munchausen syndrome by proxy.
Sure. It's not being comfortable in yourself to not feel irritated by somebody else's light. Also.
Sure.
Same thing, probably the medical common terminology for it, but like wild to think about.
Yeah, I was just pointing out another known thing where they're doing that.
For sure. Yo. Oh my goodness.
It's just moms
Gypsy Rose is a
really doing
hot
it to
fucking
their
mess.
kids. So,
without further ado, we're gonna
instead
sign
another
off.
episode here of Weekly
Jesus
Mojo at the
Christ.
Playhouse with your host Madison Jessica.
That's
Like,
me.
subscribe, and follow for more.
Thanks, Stevie. Stay tuned for the other baddies. Another baddie in the books. This BS shit.